Greetings, humans. Greetings, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode. Bear here, 29-year veteran of, that would be the woods. People, that's where bears live. 7 out of 8 TikTok women would agree. They'd rather see a bear in the woods than a man in the woods. It's YouTube's #1 show by a bear. It's great to have each and every one of you here with us on a very special occasion, people. We'll hold that till the end. I don't want to get that kind of up front here. And oohs and ahs, we've got plenty to get to, people. If Bear had 2 hours, it wouldn't be enough. But we're not going to go that long. Bear couldn't do it. Number one, unlike some YouTubers, Bear does not pee in the bottle when he's, here at the desk or anything like that. So, wouldn't have to get up and go do bear business out there. But, no, we try to keep it succinct, to the point, hit our points, not linger too long, dilly-dallying, jabbering, much like a bear is doing right now. All right, people, let's get into it. We actually have here campaign update. We only have the one campaign update, so it's going to be a very short campaign update. But let's just jump into it and take a look. Actually, Cyberfrog #3, Red Extermination. We're coming up on the year. July 4th, I think, was July 4th. July 4th was the start of there, so I would have figured this was going to do a little bit better. I meant to go back and look a couple months back just to see how well this has been doing. But, I mean, I suppose $500,000 ain't too shabby. And of course, we also want to take a look. Of course, it's still there. Gary Shipman. Trying to push this, one of Bear's probably favorite books of the year so far. I still have not read Godlike. That's why we're not doing anything right now. There will be a box open coming up tomorrow. So if you're around tomorrow, make sure you check that out, people. All right, we do have, actually, from... What the heck? Come on, man. From professional show here, people. Let's see. Do the thing with the thing. Nope, not that. Do the thing with the thing. Oh, there we go, people. You would figure Bear would have all this figured out ahead of time, but, that's what happens, people. That is what happens here. From your boy Zach out here, aka Richard C. Meyer, Iron Sights 3 is finally going to print. He says, hi, everyone. Hiya, boy! Unfortunately, Kelsey Shannon is unable to finish the cover art. Boo! Hiss! Boo hiss, Kelsey. Boo hiss. There are many interesting concepts, but we just couldn't get across the finish line. Instead, we'll go with a logo and subtitle cover concept. He says a nod to the pulp crime novels that inspired the series. The good news is we can go to print on Iron Sights 3 this month, people. And then fulfill it along with Impossible Stars 2 as originally planned. It's about time. Looking forward to Impossible Stars. Very good. The first book, very good. So I would recommend that. I don't even know if it's still in demand, but you haven't checked it out. Well, that's all your fault. Bear did promote it, so if you haven't gotten it, gosh dang you. He says, thanks. That's from Richard. P.S. Despite what you see in the mock-up covers below, the title of the book will be Iron Sights, One Good Dog. Oh, he's a good dog. So there we go. I think this is some of Kelsey's handiwork. 3 strikes. Actually, kind of like 3 strikes. I don't know. What was the name of it? One Good Dog. It's Iron Sights 3. 3 strikes? That works. I like that one. Three's a company? Three's company. I forget how that goes, but here we go. There is 3 for the money. 3 for the money. Wait a minute. No, it's 2 for the money, 3 for the road, right? It should be 3 for the road. Whatever, they're gonna go with something completely different, but I kind of like this cover. This actually looks pretty good. Although it does look like right there the guy is poking this lady's boob with a, I'm assuming either a gun or a bayonet on the gun. That's one place you don't want to get stabbed is right in the old boob, right in the old boobies. So, there you go, people. Iron Sights 3, go check it out, people. Well, yeah, I guess you can check it out. It's in print. If it's in demand, go check it out. If not, well, that is all entirely on you. You had plenty of time. I mean, Kelsey just taking a sweet time, and they couldn't even come up with some cover art. Gosh darn it. 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now, cat, go. Oh, is it 3 to get ready? Okay, all right. 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Go, cat, go. There we are, people. That is our that is all of our campaign updates for the moment here. I want to say hello to Peabody. Hello. Happy day before Human and Bear Father's Day. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, Bear's, Bear hasn't seen his father in quite a while. He went out one day, went out for a pack of smokes and never came back. And it was really weird because he never even smoked. So I have no idea, people. No idea whatsoever. So, anyways, a very special occasion, including Father's Day coming up here. So there you go, people. There you are. Well, actually, the big news. Actually, hold on, P-Money. While I've got you here, Beer was playing around with the settings. Let me know if you can actually. God, I finally hope we can actually play some Rick here. Let me know if you can actually hear this. I hope this works now. Let's see. All right, Rick, what the hell's going on here? This isn't anything other than just trying to figure this out. But let Bear know. What the hell's going on here? I already took Phoebe away. What, Steffi? No, the hell it ain't. Not gonna happen, Rick. Not at all. All right. Anybody, were you able to hear that? All right. Sorry, Rick. I hope so. Hopefully, finally, this is gonna work for Bear. I have no idea. I was just checking it out before the show started here. All right, let's see. No, he could. Gosh, dang it. Yeah, you are supposed to hear it. You were supposed to hear it. Oh well, I'm not gonna bother with it now. But I thought I had it licked, people. Thought I finally had the old OBS licked here. Apparently not. Gosh dang it. I've heard of bears using cocaine. I've been buying cigarettes, and now that's gone too far. Don't smoke, kids. Do not smoke. Whatever you do not smoke out there. It'll kill you. It'll kill you. All right. Well, actually, we've got some interesting news, people. Oh boy, do we have some interesting news. But we'll do some fun news first here. Fun news first from, let me show it here. That would help here. Definitely would help. We will see. We will see what your favorite entertainment YouTubers out there are going to come out with this weekend or early next week. Everything that Bear sees, it's, the alkalite, stinks or whatever. What is it called? Alkalite? Alkalite? Whatever. The new Star Wars thing. Whatever that everybody hates. Everybody is on to that. Worrying about all that. Meanwhile, Pixar, second best animated pick opening of all time, people, this weekend. 140 to 150 million dollars. Wow, that's quite a bit of cheddar here, people. Let's check it out. From Deadline and Danny D'Alessandro. It's pacing like Barbie. They are, speaking of cocaine, They are so happy in Hollywood right now. It's like a repeat of last year. It's like, oh, finally we're saved. Possibly. It's pacing like Barbie, they says, beamed one rival studio marketing source about Disney Pixar's amazing opening weekend with Inside Out 2. So there's three movies that we're kind of keeping an eye on. Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 47 or whatever it is, and good old Peabody, and Beer in a Bet here. Wolverine, no, Deadpool and Wolverine. Is it Wolverine and Deadpool? I don't know. Whatever. One of the two. It's those two, and they're fighting. So, we shall keep an eye. But Inside Out 2 knocked it out of the park here. $150 million could wind up being the second highest opening for an animated movie of all time behind Pixar's Incredible 2 at $182 million. Way ahead of Super Mario Brothers. They say how Inside Out is akin to Barbie if you back out $13 million Thursday previews out of the sequel's $62 million first day. Friday did $49 million, which is more than Barbie's first Friday of 48.2. So just barely knocking out Barbie here. Sans Thursday previews. So there you go. Inside Out 2 will give Pixar the top 3 animated day openings of all time, behind Incredibles and Finding Dory. So there you are, people. Rivals see the sequel well above 150. However, I hear pre-sales are lower than yesterday, but that doesn't mean there isn't walk-up business. I bet you there will be a lot tomorrow for Father's Day. Which is the sheer driver of the business. Of course, it goes on, talks about all the quadrants out there. Global, 110 million so far. 70% of the entire box office weekend. One whole movie, which should do around 214 for every movie out there. That's a 31% ahead of last year's The Flash, which crashed 30% ahead of the same frame in 2022, but also 57% of 2019 Men in Black International. I don't know. I remember, what was it? Tessa Thompson was in that. That's probably why it bombed. Well, didn't do that well, I should say. Anyways, it goes on, talks about where it's all heading out there, and good stuff there for good old Disney here. But we shall see. We're gonna keep an eye on it. Maybe it does a great first weekend, and then word of mouth says it's not that. I've heard it's not as good as the first film, but probably keeping. I think it's been 5 years, 4 or 5 years since the previous one. So I think the young girl in the film is now an adolescent. So kind of tracking with that sort of age range there. So we'll see. 4,440 theaters. Pretty much all of the theater. Now, one thing to keep in mind, people, and Disney has done this in the past, where they've bought out theaters, where they've bought out all the tickets in the theater, so it looks like it's doing a whole lot better than it actually is. So we shall see. From what Beer hears, it's doing pretty well, but there could be some shenanigans going on there. But we'll see. $150 million week one. Bad Boys, that was last weekend. Let's see, 8.5 on Friday, 31 for the weekend there, 110 total out of it. Planet of the Apes, Garfield still doing well. Will become the highest grossing movie in the franchise stateside, besting 2004's Garfield movies. So there you go. If watchers, Furiosa all the way down here at number 7, $63 million after 4 weeks. Barely above $500,000 on Friday. 3 days, 2.4 million. So, Fall Guy, Strangers, and a Tuesday. I have no idea what Tuesday is. So, there you are, people. There is the breakdown of all of that, people. Inside Out just doing amazing. Doing really. Listen, when a movie does well, when a movie does all right out there, Bear ain't gonna hide behind. What is it? It's not Ahsoka. What's the other one? The one that just came out. Akira? No, not Akira. Whatever. The new Disney thing. The new Disney Star Wars thing. Which everybody's saying is dead, which has been that's been for 2 years now. Welcome to the times, people. Welcome to the times. So, anyways, if it comes out as a good movie, not too woke or anything like that, hey, we're gonna give it a little bit of props out there. Not everything is always got to be down in the dumps. Sometimes they do pretty well. But we'll see. We still got quite a ways to go this summer. Acolyte. Why do they call it Alkalite? I don't know. Whatever. Bear's already forgotten about it. Something about, I don't know, lesbian witches or something. I have no idea, people. It's so far gone for Bear, I don't even care anymore. Congrats to Disney. One successful movie out of what, 10? They've all last year wasn't very good at all. The girl is 13 in Inside Out 2. It's why my oldest wants to watch it, because she's 12. Yeah, there you go. So you probably got that age range there. When the first movie came out, it was probably pretty close to, some of that age range there. So it probably fits. Probably fits. What was it? Like anxiety? Was that it? Yeah, anxiety there. Interesting stuff. Maya Hawke. There is no nepotism at all in Hollywood. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So yeah. Anyways, that looks pretty good. Pretty good for them. Well, one step forward for Disney. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps back, maybe. From let's see, Abounding in the Comics, Spencer McCorley. Marvel's Blade reshoot suffers yet another stake through the heart as film loses their second director. I think it's the third. They had kind of an interim director, I think, for a couple weeks there. So I think it's their third director, and I've lost track of how many writers have come and went on the Blade. It shouldn't be that hard. It should not be this hard to make a movie about a superhero vampire killing other vampires. But alas, some mofos gotta skate uphill. Gotta ice skate uphill, man. In addition to its ever-growing number of production issues. The second overall director attached to Marvel's Blade reboot has officially exited the project, people. Lesbian witches, the Jedis are transitioning from space wizards to lesbian witches. Listen, it just kind of goes with it, where Star Wars is not a sci-fi property. It's a fantasy set in a sci-fi universe, but it's really sci-fi, So yeah, wizards and sure, why not? Witches, what the heck? Sure, what else? What else are we gonna throw in there? So, and that's why Bear is a Star Trek fan, and that's not going over too well. I mean that we finally got rid of STD. Finally took our penicillin and finally got rid of STD out there. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Not looking good at all for even Star Trek out there, people. What's the deal with the Tiger Lady? I can recognize everybody else here. Tiger Lady, I don't recognize. It's first learned by Raps Beto Gonzalez via the outlets on the list. Insider sources. Our circle goes round and round, I guess. Director Jan Damage. Stepped away. Hold on. People, 1 second here. Beer. Yada yada yada. You know the drill. Talk amongst your shells. Let's see. Okay. Her name is literally Tigra. Okay, well, thank you. Jan Demers is a French film and television director of French and Algerian descent. Okay, yeah, that checks off a box or two. Who grew up in London. What? of French and Indian Algerian descent who grew up in London. Okay. After directing the well-received television series Dead Set? I don't know. Is that like a tennis thing, I guess? I don't know. And Top Boy, I don't even want to know. He made his directorial film debut with the critically acclaimed independent film 71. Okay. For which he received the British Independent Film Award for Best Director. Who cares? Who cares, man? So there you go. If you're a fan of 71, let's look up 71. Let's just see what that is. Hold on, I apologize, people. Jan Demej stepped away. Anyhow, stepped away from the MCU outing, quote, a while ago, and it was entirely amicable. Yeah, he wanted to go spend time with his family, I'm sure. God, that looks ugly. Man, that just does not look good. Neither does that one. Why are they all out of focus? Oh, for crying out loud. He had one job to do, people. One job. Blade was such a fascinating film, says P Money. Yeah, I really liked it, especially the second one. It went downhill by the third film. Yeah, that's true. That was the one with Ryan Reynolds, right? Ryan Reynolds and was it Jessica Biel? Um, the only thing that Beer remembers is they switched location. I think they went to. You'd like this, P Money. I think they filmed that in Vancouver. So they were filming it. Let's see. I think they filmed it in like Prague on the second one, and I forget. I think it was L.A. for the first one, if Beer remembers correctly. Yeah, it was L.A. for the first one. They went overseas for the second one, which looks really interesting. I really it was Guillermo del Toro did the second one. Really looked good. I really liked that one. And then they went to Vancouver for some reason for the third film. And wondered why. I think production issues, and then right about that time, Wesley Snipes got into the issue with our good friends over at the IRS, and had to step away for a couple of years, unfortunately. Unfortunately, for those curious, the sources did not provide any details as to why the director of Lovecraft Country's pilot episode stepped down. Oh, man! If I would have known it was Lovecraft Country's, man, good old, what's his name? Jan, good old Jan out there. Ooh, maybe that kind of yawn. However, one insider did allege that according to Marvel higher-ups, getting Blade right is much more important than getting the film out. Oh, I'm sure they said that. I'm sure. Yeah. Getting the Marvels right is more important than getting it out on time. What was it? What was the other one? Ant-Man and the Wasp. No, Ant-Man, Quantumania. That's more important than getting Ant-Man out right than getting it out. I mean, sure, we could just slapdash some CGI to, some production house that's going out of business, but we here at Disney, we've got standards. Got standards. Oh yeah, Jessica Biel she is still a big name. I think she is married to Justin Timberlake, if I remember correctly. I don't recall her making too many movies lately. Well, she's rich. Why would you? Why would you really? I mean, she got her fame and got her money, got her man. So there you go, man. There you go. Hey, come on back, Jessica Biel. Not bragging on her or anything like that. Far from an isolated instance, Demange, whatever the heck, is but the second director to flee from Blade's fangs over the course of its multi-troubled production. As announced in September 21, the film was initially set to be helmed by a Mogulai director Basim. Oh, this fits. Hold on one second, people. Look up Bassam Tariq. Bassam Tariq is an American film director, producer, and screenwriter. Born in Karachi, Pakistan. Okay, that checks it. He co-directed and produced the Sundance-funded documentary These Birds Walk with Omar Malek. Wow. Man, oh man. What a What a movie that was. And it was named in filmmakers' 25 New Faces of Independent Film in 2012. That was a while ago. Was he done since? Tariq's work aimed to uncover the diversity of Muslim life and experience. In addition to filmmaking, his diverse projects including blogging, and writing, co-founding a halal butcher shop, and being a TED Fellow. I thought halal was Jewish. I could be wrong on that one. Anyways, that was the other director. Only for Bassam to depart the MCU a year later due to, quote, continued shifts in Marvel's production schedule. But, people, listen, this time we're going to get it right. This time, we're definitely going to get it right this time. Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade. What will remain an executive producer? Really? Poor guy. We appreciate his talent and all the work he's done, getting Blade to where it is, which is nowhere. We're right back where we are. Right back where we are. Of course, anyone with even a passing knowledge of Mahershala Ali-led reboot may already know that this directorial shakeup is only the latest problem to have arisen in the process of bringing the Daywalker back to the silver screen. Disney, give Bear a call. I'll do it. Gosh dang it, Bear will become a Marvel director. Show you all how it's done, for crying out loud. You know what? Okay, here we go. We bring back Wesley Snipes as kind of a sort of Logan-inspired one last attempt, and instead of putting it with his, freaking purple-haired daughter, he is mentoring Mahershala Ali in how to do it. Kind of like a Christopherson did it in the original Blade. It kind of moves. He kind of passes the torch over. Now Wesley Snipes is in the old man role, and he's trying to show Mahershala. Maybe it could be his son. I don't know, something like that. And Wesley Snipes, original Blade, gets killed like halfway through the film. And Mahershala Ali Blade has to go avenge his father's death, slashing freaking all sorts of vampires left and right. There we go, people. There is your movie. I came up with that in like 30 seconds. Boo and ya. Bear wants his 10% right now. Right freaking now. Additionally, in the 5 years since it was first revealed, Bear came up with that in 5 seconds. Marvel's Blade has seen its script rewritten at least 6 times. There we go. There was a lot of writers. Eventually transforming from a girl boss story into a reported simple Blade kills vampires tale. You can't really get that wrong, can you? Well, you probably can. Its release date pushed back at least twice. Marvel Studio boss Kevin Feige reportedly losing his temper. Oh my goodness. Does that look like a black Doug Naple? Is that just beer? It looks like maybe it's just a goatee. That looks like a black dirtworm Doug out there. I'm not so sure. At current, if it ever actually materialized, let's be honest, they say, the odds are looking slim. Marvel's Blade will unsheath its katana, possibly November 7th, 2025. Hashtag Black Ducks in April, says Jimmy. he was waiting, he was lurking in the background the entire time, and Jimmy just pops out. He says, ha ha, here I am. Here I am. Looks like Jamie Foxx. Okay. We'll go with Jamie Foxx. It does look like Doug Naple, though. If Doug Naple was black. There we go. Oh, good to see Lindy here. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. Always lurking, he says. I knew it. That's why Bear always thanks at the end of his show. Not only the Russian bots, which could shut Bear down El Pronto. Also the lurkers out there, because you never know. Even people like Lindy out there. I remember she was lurking that one day. She was like, "Hey, nobody's here, Bear. I'll come out of the shadows." And we had a great time. Had a great time out here, people. All right. Listen, I don't want to completely shift the mood here or anything like that. Um, if you will bear with Bear here for a moment, I don't normally do international, don't normally do political that sort of stuff out there, but I do need to replant the flag, I suppose, out here. We're talking about movies, coming up with movie ideas, kind of, what would be a good one out there, all that sort of stuff. Came across this article, and gosh dang it, people, had to go all the way overseas to find this. The American journalism just freaking stinks out here, people. So, if this is not your cup of tea, this is not comics or anything like that. Bear understands. He understands about that. But really gotta replant the flag here sometimes because you don't really often hear about it enough here. This is an amazing story, and if Hollywood actually had any cojones, this would be fast tracked right away to a excellent movie. Unfortunately, even though Hollywood is controlled by the Jews, quote unquote, um, I don't think we're going to be seeing this anytime soon, which is a real travesty here. But I do want to make mention out there, of course. Number one, right off the bat, there is 110% behind our good friends over there in Israel, taking it to the people that it needs to be taken to out here. I came across this article. I hope you'll just bear with Bear here for just a moment as we go through this. From the Jewish Chronicle. I couldn't find it anywhere else, people. Literally. Elon Perry at the Jewish Chronicle, the world's oldest Jewish newspaper, as it were. The inside story of Israel's dramatic Gaza hostage rescue. The JC can reveal previously unknown details of the daring mission, following conversation with senior Israeli security sources. So we're going to get into this. This isn't going to be violence or anything like that, but I just want to let people know, if you got the kids in the room, I just want to, hey, there's not going to be any weird pictures or anything like that. I just want to let the parents know out there. Maybe want to step away for just a moment. But listen to this here, people. You are not going to believe it. I hope you stick around here with Bear here because we've got some just amazing stuff. They went in to rescue a number of hostages that were taken during October 7th situation that they had over there. 9 months later, they finally got a couple of them back. This is the story. On May 12th, Israel received intelligence about the location of 4 hostages in a refugee camp in the Gaza Strip. Quote unquote refugee camp, as we shall see. From that day on, every branch of Israeli intelligence was focused on the area 24/7, 7 days a week, to locate an exact location. A team of undercover, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce some of this stuff, a unit that assimilates into local populations to gather intelligence, were sent there. Mainly the market of Nusrat, I hope I pronounced that right. Their role was not only to gather intelligence from locals, but also to check information from interrogation of captured terrorists. I like how they put that. In addition, information was gathered by aerial observation and other sophisticated technological means. After 19 days of intensive cooperative intelligence gathering work, the combined units managed to complete solid, accurate information about the location of the hostages. It was discovered that the hostages were being held in 2 separate buildings in the same area. Noah, I hope I pronounced this right, Aragami? Argiami, was held on the first floor of one, and 3 other hostages were in another building 800 meters away on a 3rd floor. At the beginning of June, this information was brought to the War Cabinet, Chief of Staff of the IDF, and the head of the Shin Bet, which I believe is either their CIA or FBI, were asked to present a rescue plan. The intelligence was kept top secret. Even the other forces in Gaza, including senior commanders, were not informed about it. As the War Cabinet discussed options, the preparation and training for the operation began. He might ask, where can I find the article? It is down in the description. It's down below where it says, Comicsgate, wake the F up! That's where it's located. Sorry, I didn't get into that part of it. I shall right now. Hey, Comicsgate, wake the F up! You're worried about cancel culture? Here's a culture being canceled right here. They're trying to push them from the river to the sea. That's why, people. That's why. We talk about, oh, well, I felt bad because, somebody didn't like me on Twitter or something like that. That's part of cancel culture. This is literally a culture that's trying to be canceled, by the quote-unquote Gazans out there. It is in the description. In the description there. In order to finally verify the information and to prepare the ground for the operation. By the way, it's the VJC.com. VJC.com. In order to finally verify the information and prepare the ground for the operation, another team of undercover soldiers, including several women dressed in hijabs and long black dresses, was sent into the refugee camp, quote unquote, pretending to be two Gazan families looking for a house. They arrived in two cheap-looking old cars, loaded with domestic items characteristic of those families displaced in this trip, such as mattresses and clothing identical to those of the locals. So they're trying to fit in, trying to blend in, I should say. When the residents of the camp asked the undercovers where they came from and what they were looking to do, they replied that they had fled from Rafah due to deadly shelling from the Israeli army and decided to rent a house in the area. They pointed to the building where Noah. I'm sorry, madam. Miss Noel here. Was being held. They showed one of the locals a large amount of cash and offered to pay 3 times the going rate for rent. Well, we know they're not Jewish. I kid, people, I kid. The local agreed to help and within 3 hours found a large house on the very street where she was held. This was only 800 meters away from where the other hostages were being held. After a few days, a few days later, after settling into the house and getting to know the area, including shopping at the local market, and realizing that they did not arouse suspicion, the uncovers began their mission. That would be verifying the location where the hostages were held. They split into 2 teams. One team consisted of 2 commanders, a man dressed as a typical Gazan local, and a woman dressed in a long black dress and a hijab. Grab a drink. They began marching down the street towards the Al-Ada Medical Center, where in a nearby residential building, 200 meters from the hospital. That's where she's being held. The uncovers walked with complete confidence, as if they were walking down the street in Tel Aviv. To add to their authenticity, they stopped from time to time in stalls along the streets, sides of the streets, showing interest in the products. Wait, I thought they were all starving to death over there, while complaining about the difficult situation in Gaza. This was done in fluent Arabic with perfect Gazan accents. Behind them walked 4 more undercover men, armed, to give backup in case a Fadula-like situation occurred. There would be unexpected chaos. Learned a new word today. The second team consisted of 4 female soldiers dressed as typical Arab women, one feigning being pregnant, carrying plastic bags full of food products and vegetables. They walked in 2 pairs. They're not allowed to walk alone as Muslim women. Towards a nearby residential building where on the 3rd floor, the 3 male hostages were being held. Behind them walked 4 more undercover men armed to give them backup. I think all of these people were at the music festival. You see the very famous stuff with the paragliders coming in and all that sort of stuff. That was one of the locations there, was this big music festival. And then the people that they didn't massacre there, they took hostage. So that was all four of these people, if Bear remembers correctly. Meanwhile, 5 other members of the undercover team stayed at the house to guard it and make sure the teams had not been exposed and that no nasty surprises would await them. We shall see. 3 hours later, at the prearranged time, the 2 teams came back to the rented house and began the process the information they had obtained. Now it was confirmed 4 hostages were being held in 2 homes of Gazan families. Wait, what? Hold on, I thought they were all innocent. Wait a minute. Something ain't right here. The Force commander confirmed to Israel that the 2 locations were correct. They did all this work. Went undercover, 24/7 surveillance, all this sort of stuff. Find 4 people. There we go. They are correct. So the cabinet decided to act. 28 fighters from the Yemen Commando Unit that specializes in fighting terrorists and rescuing hostages began training on 2 specially built models that replicated the 2 buildings where the hostages were being held. So they didn't just walk in there guns a-blazing. After 3 days of training, the commander of the force informed the IDF chief of staff, who then informed the minister of defense that they were ready to carry out the operation. After the prime minister had been informed and given permission to launch the operation, it was able to proceed. So on Thursday night, June 5th, undercovers were ordered to leave the area of the refugee camp without arousing suspicion. Although 4 remained to keep an eye on the buildings to make sure that the hostages were not transferred to another location. Only at this time were senior Israeli commanders and other cabinet members informed of the operation. On Friday, June 6th, we all know about June 6th, don't we? The 28 commandos of the unit began making their way in 2 teams towards the 2 buildings in the refugee quote-unquote camp. To maintain the element of surprise as much as possible, the unit's fighters traveled hiding in 2 trucks, people. I hope I'm not boring you people. This is this is kind of a setup to what's about to happen here. And you can kind of picture this in your mind. I mean, this would be a very interesting movie or TV series, maybe. Just before 11 a.m., the commanders arrived with precise timing at the 2 targets and awaited the order. Observations and technological surveillance measures from the IDF aircraft reported that the area was, quote, clean. No suspicious movements near the 2 buildings. The information and live coverage of the alleys and the 800-meter-long street that separated the 2 targets were transmitted directly to the screens of the 2 command and control rooms in Israel, from which the operation was being overseen, people. At 11 a.m. exactly, the commandos received the order to go ahead and stormed both buildings simultaneously in full coordination. So again, they didn't just walk in guns blazing. To prevent the terrorists from endangering the hostages and the entire operation. The Israeli soldiers eliminated the terrorists guarding Noah, and within 6 minutes had rescued her unharmed from the apartment. They then took her to a waiting helicopter that immediately flew her back into Israel. P-Mike says, I bet Israeli critics will claim Gaza released the hostages out of the kindness of their hearts. No, they complained that the Israelis went in and rescued their hostages and, quote, killed a bunch of civilians, unquote. We'll find out. Let's find out, shall we? But while the rescue of, what was her name? I apologize. Noah, I believe. The lady. While the rescue of Argamani, I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Went smoothly. The task of rescuing the other 3 hostages on the 3rd floor of the 2nd building became complicated. They were held in the home of, wait for it, Dr. Ahmed Al-Jamar, a medical doctor who was also a Hamas activist. What? No way, huh? Gee, I thought all the doctors were just clean as the wind-driven snow They wouldn't hurt. They wouldn't hurt. Maybe they just had. Maybe they just had it in the home of a civilian doctor just to make sure that they're okay. You know, they got all their medical attention. Yeah, I'm sure about that. His son, Abdullah, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, a journalist who had written for Al Jazeera was also staying in the apartment. I'm sure just by happenstance. Just visiting his dad, hanging out, doing the thing. Had no idea they were hostages. None whatsoever. Some of the commandos used a ladder to enter directly into the room where the 3 hostages were held. This coincided with the entry of the rest of the force who came up the stairs from the main entrance of the building. So they're coming 2 different ways. But Commander Anan Zamora's team, which broke into the apartment at the head of the force, encountered massive fire. What? From a civilian building. Around 30 Hamas terrorists in the apartment, they fired with machine guns, threw grenades, and fired rocket-propelled grenades at the surprised Israelis. Remember, they went and they checked all this stuff out. They were trying to make sure that there weren't any bad guys there. This is how Anan Zamora was killed. He was the commander. Their commanders go. They lead the team. They're not like what's his name, Millie. The U.S. commander that bugged out of Afghanistan. He's back in D.C. He's hanging out back in D.C. I ain't gonna get involved in any of that. Israelis, they're up front. The fact of the presence of 30 terrorists in the apartment had not been known to the undercover teams, who had reported the information about the hostages' location back to Israel. It is assumed that the terrorists arrived at the apartment only that morning or the night before to strengthen the guarding of the 3 hostages. And you kind of wonder, did they know that something was going to go on, or was this just happened to be there? And nevertheless, the experienced Israeli commando fighters were not deterred by the deadly surprise and continued to fight the terrorists with determination at close range, joined by the other fighters who were waiting outside the apartment. The 3 hostages had to hide in the bathroom of the apartment, protected by the several Israeli fighters during the battle. There was no way to leave the apartment due to the massive, unexpected gunfire from the innocent civilians, as it might endanger the hostages. After a long face-to-face battle, I think it was several hours, the Israelis managed to eliminate all of the terrorists in the apartments. The poor journalist and the doctor. My heart goes out to them. But during the shootout from dozens of guns inside the crowded 2-room apartment, Anan Zora, the commander, was hit and laid on the floor bleeding, while 3 medics and a doctor leant over him under heavy fire trying to save his life. Meanwhile, dozens of terrorists emerged from the tunnels. What tunnels? Around the building and began to fire at the Israeli fighters with machine guns, mostly peaceful RPG missiles. The Israelis started to make their way out of the building, and carrying the commander on a stretcher. Running through smoke-filled alleys at the nearby market, which was crowded with thousands of Gazans, poor innocent Gazans, who would not have hesitated to lynch them. The Israeli forces tried, under constant fire, to get to the rescue vehicle that was waiting for them, but it was hit by a mostly peaceful RPG missile. The commander of the operation in Israel then activated Plan B, nuke them all from orbit. The rescue plan that had been prepared in advance, a daring operation under massive, very close fire from the enemy, covered by Israeli fire from ground, sea, and air. With the help of tanks, hundreds of soldiers, brigades, paratroopers charged on foot into the quote-unquote refugee camp, fighting face-to-face battles with Hamas terrorists, while a Navy ship covered them from the west and the Air Force helicopters from the east. Fire from the air hit the terrorists just 10 meters from the Israeli soldiers. That's pretty close. The reinforcement forces and the Air Force managed to isolate the battle scene, providing a safe escape route for the main force, escorting the 3 hostages. At the end of an exhausting and continuous battle, the Israeli fighters eliminated all of the armed threats in the battle area. Hamas claims that during the rescue operation at the crowded street of the quote-unquote refugee camp, 274 million Palestinians were killed. However, the IDF says only 100 were killed or wounded, all of whom were Hamas terrorists or armed civilians, mostly peaceful armed civilians, who collaborated with the terrorist organization. After the battle, the three abductees, who had kept their cool throughout, were led by the fighters to one of the Israeli helicopters waiting for them, and they flew to Israel. Meanwhile, the Air Force planes bombed the building, which collapsed within seconds. Special Forces soldiers then boarded the other two helicopters that took off back to Israel. Attempts to revive the commander continued on the short flight, but he was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital, trying to save three other people. Juan Perry is a journalist and former commando in the brigade of the IDF, people. Good luck trying to find this story anywhere else. I'm sure there's little bits here and there, but good luck trying to find that, number one. And number two, hey, this is kind of like a Black Hawk Down situation. That movie made a whole heck of a lot of money. Hey, Disney, any thoughts here? Warner Brothers, Amazon, MGM, Sony, maybe Sony. Anybody out there? It's kind of interesting. That they were able to do all this. Sounds like it's a pretty interesting story to tell out there, but I don't know. Poor innocent civilians with machine guns, mostly peaceful machine guns. I guess kidnappers are now civilians in this day of age. Yeah. Once again, I want to make this clear. Let's see. Where was it here? Let me find it here. All the preparations that they did. 1 second here. Dr. Ahmed Al-Jamani, a medical doctor who worked with Hamas, and his son, a journalist, writing for Al Jazeera. Were holding people hostage in their home. And then Israel does all this stuff to make sure that they don't hurt anyone other than the people holding the hostages terrorists. And if there weren't 30 people, at the building and hundreds more coming out of tunnels, they would have went in and out without any bloodshed, really. But not so. Not so. All those civilians still there in Gaza out there. Let's see. P Money says, if it was my family, I'd do absolutely anything to get them back. There you go. We got the article there. Poor innocent journalist probably kept awake at night from the hostages screaming to be let go. Yeah, the poor guy. Out there. I don't think we have. I don't think we got enough time to get to it. It's in with all those articles there. Had another one kind of similar to that. They're talking about the actual day of some of the medics, what they had to go through there. There are some very. Hold on, let me just double check here. These aren't too bad. I'll go ahead and show that. I don't want to show anything that's too bad, but you see some of that stuff. Very good article. I would recommend it. I'm not going to read it here today, but they talked to some of the paramedics that day. You'd figure, paramedics are, behind the scenes. These guys were the first ones in. They were being told, no, don't go in, like to the music festival. Don't go in. They actually said we probably saved about another 1,000 people from getting killed. So very, very interesting article there if you want to go check that out. Again, it's got some bloody pictures towards the end of the article here, so I don't want to get into all of that. But they're saying, we normally have 2,000 calls. On the 7th, we had 12,000, mainly screaming. screaming, not talking, screaming, saying, "Help us, help us." So there you go. There's another good one right there that we will never see. Well, other than the New York Post, who is like a boss out there doing the work. Bear's not even a big fan of Rupert Murdoch, but doing a great job out there. The rest of the press, not so much. I literally had to go Jewish Chronicle for the other one there. Jewish Chronicle out there. I wanted to just make very quick mention here. You go check it out. It's the third part of the article. Wake the F up, Comics Gates. Wake the F up. The fella that we were talking about the last show, Riley, something like that. Young Clippa, fella that got arrested for harassment for Eric July. How do you feel about Eric July? Whatever. I'm not. It's nothing to do about him. Uh, a number of people are trying to get a legal defense fund going for this young Clippa fella. I wish that there was a fund to keep him in jail. That's right, I said it, people. Because that guy's kind of a dummy, and when you do dumb things, that's on you. Don't look at Bear or the rest of Comicsgate to be an ATM machine for your stupidness out there. So I would say if you want to give money to a legal defense fund, good old Marc Steyn here. Marc Steyn, he is being sued by what is their sort of what would you call that? Kind of their sort of censorship board over in England. He had a show over there in England. We've talked about Marc Steyn a couple times before. Good guy. He had a show over there in England, was talking about, the vaccinations and all that sort of stuff. They threw him off air, and now they're, he is suing them. He is suing them. So we shall see out here. But yeah, if you want to give any money to a legal defense fund, I would suggest good old Marc Steyn here. I think he has it somewhere down here. Membership or a gift certificate or something like that would help quite a bit. I would suggest go checking out the article here. But good old Marc, which by the way, people, Bear does research. He doesn't just go on Twitter. Oh, hey, there's somebody talking about something on Twitter. X, whatever. Oh, well, I'm so smart. I know all about it then. Blah, 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 blah. Bear actually has to go out and do, some research out there. Bear's right, let Ridley rot. There you go. I mean, Bear kids, I don't want to see anybody rotting in jail here, but it's like, quit treating people like an ATM machine out there. So Eric July. Eric July, one of his, I guess, main employer, I suppose, other than himself, is an outfit called The Blaze. So The Blaze is essentially a right wing / conservative alternative media website. It's a website, but it's also a sort of a right wing CNN, I suppose, something along those lines. It is owned by Glenn Beck. So Glenn Beck started The Blaze with his radio show, if Bill remembers correctly. But what happened is they merged together with another outfit. The other outfit was called CRTV, conservative something TV out there. Conservative CRTV was owned by a fella named Katz, like Jeffrey Katz or something like that, who owned the operation. Jeffrey Katz, I think his name, was a former and I think still is poker player who made his money in the student loan racket. So one of the people getting student loan forgiveness, one of them is from this fella here that owned the CRTV. He ended up selling it to Glenn Beck and yada yada yada. That's where young Ripper is now. Ended up getting sued by Marc Steyn because they canceled his show and his contract without proper notice. And then, with a bizarre series of events, they ended up suing themselves, which also made Marc Steyn both a plaintiff and a defendant, which was weird, and I think a witness as well. So they were going through all that. So they also had, let's see, it was Michelle Malkin, Gavin McGinnis, Steven Crowder was there at the time. He stuck on. Everybody else left because of all the shenanigans there. So that was kind of the genesis behind the new and improved Blaze TV. So if you knew anything about that, you'd figure, yeah, that outfit's kind of sketchy there. And anybody that works there, like, I don't know, Eric July, oh, our good friend, what's his name? Prime Steyn, what's his name? It's another Steyn. Alex Steyn. Alex Steyn 99 or whatever the hell his name is. A whole grifter outfit over there. You would have figured that if you would have done just a modicum of research. Unfortunately, these people did not. So, I guess Bear knows a little bit more about some of this stuff than other people. So, yeah, if you want to support somebody, you support Marc Steyn. He literally had a heart attack. Well, more than one heart attack. Heart attacks, he says. So, oh, poor old Marc Steyn. Go help him out here. Bear doesn't check Twitter. He's in the wood getting his answers. That's right, P-Money. That is so correct out here. So correct. Once again, masks. No difference whatsoever. We'll get into that some other time. Bear wanted to take a moment here towards the end of the show. Let me bring this up here. Get rid of this because it is actually a special occasion here. And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you good folks out here. It really wouldn't. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone out here. Tomorrow, the 16th, is Bear's 5 years on YouTube. He's been here for 5 years, since 2019. 2019. So 5 long years. Next month will be 4 years that Bear's been doing the live shows here. So 4-year live show, 5-year the entire show. Been doing it all this time, and wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for you folks. If nobody's watching, what's the point? But came a long way. One of Bear's very first videos. He normally did videos before he ever did live stuff. One of his very first ones was a review of Graveyard Shift, and now we've got tomorrow coming up. I think at 4 p.m. We're going to be doing the box open. The box open that Bear did a couple days ago of Godlike. Not the one that you guys saw live, but it's a completely new one in HDR. Oh, it looks terrific. Bear always says that one of Bear's best videos, I want to say. Some great HDR, it looks terrific. Just beautiful, but man, oh man, what a journey from there to here. Some of the older stuff looks pretty rough out there. So, a number of good people out here stuck with Bear. Appreciates it so very much. So thank you, Lindy. Thank you, P Money. Always appreciates it. Happy 5 years being a 29-year veteran of the woods. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I would not be here without you good folks. The live show was just a lark. When Bear started up, literally it was what you saw the last show. It was kind of funny. The last show where Bear got 2 different packages from John Malin. This was Graveyard Shift 2. You're a little more than a year later. And literally had the same artwork. So Graveyard Shift 2 had the same artwork. And if you saw the show the last time, Godlike had literally the same artwork. You could have traced it. So interesting how that comes full circle. We really started kind of going along with the show. With the format of Wednesdays and Saturdays, an hour long, all that sort of stuff, was in response to the Gina Carano situation. Beer actually had written a screenplay about the Japanese internment. Gina Carano was talking about the other quote unquote internment over in Germany at the time. So was starting to read the screenplay, and that's kind of how it started to get a little bit more of kind of a idea how to do a live show, and then weekly, well, bi-weekly really, and the format of how to do a show, with campaign updates and some of the news and stuff like that. 100 other live shows out there that you can go see. I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit unique. I don't think too many people are going to be reading about, Israeli hostage situations here in Comicsgate. Wake up, fellas. So try to make it a unique and interesting spot for all of you to kind of come and hang out either on a Wednesday or Saturday evening. Even if you don't care about what Bear's talking about, maybe just kind of a good hangout spot in the chat where you get to say hello to old friends and everything. So once again, want to thank each and every one of you out there, including our lurkers and Russian bots. Wouldn't wouldn't be here without you. We talk about the Russian bots. One of the reasons P Money is he's got his rent is because we had some Russian bots early on that we needed to do something about. So been an interesting journey here. It's been fun. We've been doing it quite a while. Never know what the future brings, so I don't know how long Bear is going to continue to do this. He's not getting paid, getting exactly $0 for these 5 years. So we shall see. We shall see about that. But want to thank each and every one of you out there. P says, thank you for being consistent. Most YouTubers do live streams whenever, but you try to be consistent, which helps me be a regular viewer. Well, thank you. Thank you. I do try. Every once in a while, early on, Bear had issues. Last year, especially the year before, uh, Wi-Fi connections, all sorts of issues. I mean, all sorts of technical stuff. That's where Bear comes up with the, one of these days a professional show. Really, it will be one of these days, but we continue to have issues sometimes. So don't quit. I'm not quitting. Not yet. Not yet. But it is quite a bit, quite a lot of work. In fact, I mean, let me just bring this up here. I mean, I had well, that too, but where is it here? There are so many things that Bear doesn't get to. I mean, of all the stories that you see, there's probably 20 others that Bear looks through. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe not. I don't know. So, I mean, like, for example, a shocked family finds Bear living in crawl space beneath baby's room. So maybe next time. Maybe next time we will do that story out there. But yeah, we try to do it. We try to have a wide range of topics, number one, but topics that you people enjoy. Bear would go on with his vaccine rants or maybe some of the NFT stuff a while back, but we try to do stuff that you people enjoy, but also that Bear has a little bit of an interest in as well. So once again, thank all of you. VM, Bear's news are the best news. Well, I thank you. It gets hard sometimes finding stuff that's not just the same route stuff over and over and over again, or stuff that people are, whatever the trending topic is, and you've heard 20 different times. I don't want to repeat the same stuff over and over again. It was VM, it's funny. I can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, but there was a time where Yellow Flash was stealing some of Bear's news. I mean, literally story from story from story. It was uncanny at the time. Had to call him out. Had to call him out. Bear is the best live streamer? I doubt that, Jimmy. I doubt that severely. Even though his Wi-Fi is crapola. Is crapola. Bear, you should clickbait thumbnails like other channels. Yeah. like some other channels, Bear could just kick back. He could kick back, do some of the streams. I could do an Eric July, what a dummy Eric July stream is. Well, there's no fun in that. I mean, literally, here, let me watch another video of somebody talking for 5 minutes, and then pause it, and then, make a couple statements, and then run it again. That is literally the laziest thing that you could do. I mean, other than just a chair stream. So, we try to do a little bit of a different stuff here. We got kind of a pattern, but I try to do a little bit of fun on occasion here for you good people. You good people out there. So once again, thank you all so much. 5 years. I didn't want to bring this up at the very beginning of the show, and then everybody's like, "Oh, congratulations, Bear." I just put it at the end, let people know, and some other channels might have a really big ego. Bear only has he's like the baby bear of the ego. Not too big, not too small. It's just right. It is just right. Well, you have done sunset streams. That was fun. I unfortunately can't do those much anymore. Unfortunately, P1 Years moved around a little bit since then. But yeah, did that. That was fun. We always try to do something a little bit different, a little bit not in the sort of trending what everybody else is doing. Hey, let me get 5 other people in here to agree with what I'm saying. I mean, one of the things about this channel right here is it literally is all you people. Beer is not on other channels. Hey, go watch my channel. Hey, big YouTube streamer, come visit my channel sometime and tell people that. No, it's you people watched either the videos or maybe a live stream a while back and says, hey, I like that. Let me keep watching that. It's all you. Beer is not indebted to any other channel out there. So I want to thank each and every one of you for sticking here with the good old beer. Good old beer indeed, people. Yes, indeed. All right, well, let me actually thank everybody here, including P Money, who many times P Money. It's just been me and you sometimes, especially early on. So thank you so much for being a loyal viewer out there, keeping Beer company. Some of those streams, Beer was just talking to himself, wondering, I don't know if I should keep doing these live streams here. And P Money, Marco for Anthony, I don't know if he's here, was doing that as well. So thank you so much. Hashtag Black Doug to Naples, says Jiminy. Thank you, Jiminy. Lindy, always great to see you here, even though you might be lurking sometimes. Just say hello. We always appreciate you here. VM as well, always stirring the pot, trying to get Beer in trouble. That's all right. That's all right, man. We do appreciate you and a lot of our longtime viewers. We saw the last stream of Miguel. Miguel, if you happen to watch this, congratulations, sir. One of Bear's earliest viewers. I think he watched like one of the very first or second or third videos out there and commented on that. So thank you. Thank you to everyone out there. Beer is his old beer. Just beer, says Jimmy. Just beer. And go check out Jiminy's channel. He has all sorts of good stuff. He also rips off beer on occasion and does box openings, but his is a little bit more professional. He has it all laid out and is very professional about it. Beer just tears into the package. Yes, indeed. So, thank you once again, people, all the folks out there, including our lurkers and Russian bots. But you know what, people? Do you know what? All this talk has made Beer hungry. So he's going to head back into the woods. So until next time, people, there will be a next time. Night, everybody. Thanks for watching.